Hey everybody, I'm Joey and today we're here in historic Weston, Missouri to learn how to make some tasty brisket. So follow me and let's meet America. Today we're here in Weston, which is a small town located just north of Kansas City, and it's rich in history. We're gonna meet Sean O'Malley, who's gonna show us how to make some incredible brisket. Now the interesting thing about this business is it's located in a building which was originally constructed in 1842. It operated largely as a hardware store throughout its history, run by the same family, until Sean opened his restaurant in 2014. This is the Tin Kitchen.
Excellent, really good flavoring. It was nice and moist. It was cooked perfectly. It was excellent.
I'm a local here in Weston, and we eat here every Wednesday. We come back for the staff for the amazing brisket. The ribs are awesome, and the French fries they're all hand cut. They're the best.
What do we work with today?
We've got a whole packer brisket.
Okay.
These weigh about 16 pounds. And we start by taking out this bit of fat right here.
And so why trim the fat at all?
Some of this fat you want to get off of here so that you can get more smoke into the meat.
Now is this considered the top or the bottom of the brisket?
Well, this, on the animal, this is hanging to the ground.
Understood, yep.
You know, we'll go after a little bit of this silver skin. Again, just try to get more seasoning right onto the meat. The flat literally is flat.
Flat.
The point lays over the top of the flat. What I will do though is I'll make a cut here.
Okay.
And now we can really start to see how much fat is on the other side. And so when we get to that point, we'll know how much we're gonna take off.
So I want to show everyone at home the thickness of that fat, just like you mentioned. Let's go ahead and take a close look at that.
Yeah, so we're gonna shoot for leaving about a 1/4 inch of fat. We always err on leaving a little bit too much versus taking off too much.
Right.
But the other thing that we have to remember is when we season this with the salt and pepper, we want that in the bite. And so we don't want to leave too much fat,
Right.
or it's going to be too much fat.
Right.
But we also don't want to have to cut that off because we had too much fat, because we're going to cut off our bark.
Right, and as we say at Red Meat Lover, the fat is where it's at. That's where beef meat in general gets a lot of its flavor.
Right. When we feel this is soft. So this will render out nice. It's when you get up here to where this is more of a hard fat that we're going to want to make sure that we get it properly trimmed, because that just won't melt when it cooks. There is way more fat in the meat at this end, where the point is.
Okay.
There is a lot less fat in the meat at the flat end. You know, we could err a little by taking too much off here because there's fat in the meat. Down here is where we just really want to be careful to not take too much off.
Now it's better to trim this when it's cold, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you want this fat to be, again, it's soft fat, but kind of firm. As it starts to warm up, it just gets a little bit harder to cut.
So for everyone at home, here we have the flat, here we have the point, and this is the fat that kind of separates the two muscles.
Right.
Is that correct?
And on this particular brisket, the flat is literally running underneath the entire brisket, where sometimes that point will be more prominent.
Understood.
On this end.
So we got a fully trimmed brisket. What do we do next?
We use a real simple rub, like, you know, a Central Texas style rub.
Okay.
It's coarse pepper and coarse salt.
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper, the Dalmatian. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and get this seasoned up with salt and pepper. Is there a specific ratio? Salt and pepper, 50-50, 25-75? What do you suggest?
We use a 50-50.
I understand you already have some of these on the smoker, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and what are we smoking with today? What kind of wood?
We use pecan wood here at the Tin Kitchen.
Awesome, I can't wait to go check them out.
Yeah.
Join us for the Meet America podcast presented by Code 3 Spices as we meet experts and discuss incredible stories business and life advice, meat, of course, and much, much more. Like a bunch of friends gathered around the grill, the meat brings us together, but the conversation will head in exciting directions. Are you ready for an adventure? Follow along every week as we meet America. All right, so what are we doing next?
These briskets have been on since last night.
Okay.
We put these on last night, and we get to an internal temperature about 165, 170, and now we're going to wrap them.
Okay, how long does it take to get to this internal temperature?
Well, we cook real slow.
Okay.
We cook at about 205
Okay.
Overnight, so about 12 hours.
We get a lot of backyard barbecuers, a lot of guys who are their first time around the grill. What kind of tips or tricks would you share for someone who is just trying out a brisket for the first time at home?
Yeah, I think because it's an expensive cut of meat.
Yeah?
Know your grill. Keep the point toward the fire, the bigger end toward the fire, but basically just know your pit.
So now we got it on the foil.
Yep.
And what are we going to hit it with here?
This is apple cider vinegar.
Okay, very nice. Now I hear a lot of questions about which is the right side of the foil to have up or down. How do you wrap?
We wrap with the dull side out. I guess the idea being that it absorbs the heat versus reflecting the heat.
Now you said these have an internal temperature of 165 to 170 approximately, is that right?
Yes.
This grill holds and cooks all 400 pounds at once.
Yeah, we could put another shelf here,
Okay, all right.
so we could double the capacity.
Wow. So as Sean mentioned, the technique he's using is commonly referred to as the Texas crutch. And I know you guys can't smell this at home, but it smells absolutely tremendous in here, and I can't wait to get some of that brisket in my belly. Okay, so how long has it been since we wrapped these?
It's been about 3 hours, so we'll take a look at them, see where they're at. And we're gonna shoot for an internal temperature around 197 to 203.
Okay.
And for us, well, for anybody, it's about temperature as a guideline.
Yep.
But it's about the feel of how this probe feels in the meat.
Okay, and how should it feel?
Like butter.
All right. All right.
We want butter.
That's magical,
yeah,
right? Turning beef into butter.
Yeah. So let's see where they're at. There's just a little resistance.
Just a little bit.
And you want that to be, smooth like butter.
All right, Sean, what are we doing right now?
Well, we're getting ready to serve some brisket.
All right.
We're gonna
I love that.
Build our Q sandwich. It's our #1 selling sandwich. So we've got our brisket here. So I take about an inch or so off of the flat end.
Okay.
And I chop this. We don't do a technical burnt end. And certainly chopping this off the flat is nowhere near a burnt end.
Right.
But when we get down to the point, this is where the burnt end comes from.
Oh, that looks magical right there.
And so here at Tin Kitchen, we just chop all of our burnt ends. So
you get some of the point, some of the flat, right?
with each order, yes.
That's excellent.
Yep.
Now we go on the bun.
Yep.
What's next?
Some cheddar cheese. Now we're going to put some of our house-made onion straws.
Oh, you make those right here in house?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can tell. That looks tremendous.
And that's the Q sandwich.
This is the Q sandwich. This thing is absolutely ginormous. Sean, I think I'm going to need about 2 mouths to take a bite of this thing. Let's dig in. You get the softness of that buttered roll. The next thing you're hit with is a little bit of the saltiness from those onion straws. After that, you really feel the cheese coming through, and then you hit that brisket. That's a fastball right down the middle. Really knocked it out of the park right here, man. Excellent sandwich. Thanks for having us in your kitchen today.
Thanks for coming.
If you want to make Tin Kitchen brisket right at home, just follow these simple steps. Trim the brisket to remove the silver skin, hard fat, and trim the soft fat to about a 1/4 inch thick. Season with a 50-50 mixture of kosher salt and coarse black pepper. Use pecan wood to fire up the grill. Place the brisket on the smoker with the point towards the fire. Smoke the brisket at 210 degrees Fahrenheit until it reaches an internal temperature of 165 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Wrap in foil with the dull side out and place back in the smoker, also known as the Texas crutch. Remove the brisket when it reaches an internal temperature of 197 to 203 degrees Fahrenheit. The internal temperature is a guideline only. The probe in the brisket will have the feel of pushing through butter with minimal resistance. And today's pro tip, know thy smoker. Not all smokers are created equal. They all can cook differently even when heated to the same temperature. Simply put, practice on your smoker will result in perfect brisket. Thanks for tuning in today, and if you like our video, you know the drill. Go ahead and hit that big thumbs up like button, or even better, subscribe to our channel so you can continue to follow our adventures as we meet America.